Have you been dreaming of getting away? Well, we know a place that will recharge your spirit. WA, Western Australia, a land where adventure awaits. Otherworldly adventures, ancient adventures, majestic, unfiltered adventures. Here in Western Australia, you can get away from the crowds. Go beyond the expected and take the road less travelled. There's plenty to choose from. Watch the sun melt into the water while strolling along a picture-perfect beach on the back of a camel. Get a fresh perspective on life, 40 metres up in the canopy of an ancient forest. Give your taste buds a holiday, sampling the best local produce in the Margaret River wine region. Or maybe it's time you just got outside and went for a swim with these gentle giants. Go on, turn waiting into planning. Western Australia. Adventure awaits. Have you been dreaming of getting away? Well, we know a place that will recharge your spirit. WA, Western Australia. A land where adventure awaits. Understated luxury adventures. Otherworldly adventures. Majestic, unfiltered adventures. Here in Western Australia, you can get away from the crowds, go beyond the expected, and take the road less travelled. There's plenty to choose from. Like an expedition up the Coral Coast to find picturesque natural landscapes. Explore the vibrant culinary destinations of the city. Ignite your taste buds with the mouth-watering local produce of the Margaret River region. Or maybe it's time you just got out in the sun and snapped a selfie with the happiest animal on the planet. Go on, turn waiting into planning. Western Australia. Adventure awaits.
There's nothing like riding a Segway. You can go from Kings Park to East Perth in such a short amount of time. You have this freedom of you on your own vehicle. You're at one with nature, so you're out in the environment. You're actually feeling, you actually get all the senses, but it's very quiet as well, like gliding along. When you do a Segway tour, it's completely different to the way you normally travel. And we can take you anywhere around Perth to explore our unique environment. It's very vibrant in the city of Perth. There's a lot of events which are being held here. Our Segways are highly visible, so when there are events, people actually see the Segways and they usually come for a tour afterwards. We got the bell tower, we have all the river cruises. There's a whole lot of environment around as well. Up in Kings Park, the amount of bird life up there. And then you come down to, sometimes in Elizabeth Quay, you have dolphins jumping around right into the quay. Our tours are very informative. Our guides talk about the history of Perth, the wildlife, and we have a lot of family groups, we have social groups, we have so many people coming and enjoying the Segway. This is one of the most exciting adventures you can ever do in Perth.
Rockingham's a fantastic destination, 30 minutes from a capital city. This is the only place in the world where you can swim with dolphins in the wild. It's a magical experience. The first time I saw dolphins in the water was just unbelievable. It was exhilarating and amazing. Everybody really wanted to see everything, so we've developed new tours for that. A 60-minute cruise where they go out, they see dolphins, they see the sea lions on Seal Island, and then they end up on Penguin Island in time for the penguin feeding. And a 2-day overnight tour where they come down, they do Penguin Island the first day, and then they stay in a hotel and then wake up the next morning in time for a dolphin swim. We really make people's dreams come true.
Welcome to magnificent Kings Park. For more than 40,000 years, Kings Park has been a meeting place for the Noongar Wadjuk Aboriginal people who gathered here long before European settlement in 1829. Did you know, with more than 4 square kilometres of bush and immaculate parkland, Kings Park is the biggest inner city park in the world? Perched high on Mount Eliza, you can enjoy the beauty of Perth City, the Swan and Canning Rivers, and the Darling Range beyond. Western Australia has a rich botanical heritage, with more than half of Australia's plant species growing here, many of which do not grow anywhere else. On top of that, the southwest region of WA, including Perth, is Australia's only biodiversity hotspot, and that is rare. The State War Memorial sits proudly on top of Mount Eliza, and there are more than 1,700 plaques honouring those killed in battles lining our honour avenues. Much of Western Australia's heritage is recorded here in Kings Park. With fabulous outdoor sculpture, contemporary architecture, and leading public education programs, it's not hard to see why Kings Park gets around 6 million visits a year.
Warna walang ini. Ngangi ja mort boja, ngangi ja nyunga boja, ngi ngang balarak boja, ngi ngang thonra boja, ngi ngang ngalaka boja.
We have about 2,000 head of animals and birds in Caversham Wildlife Park here, about 200 different Australian species. So obviously the koalas and the kangaroos and wombats are really popular. We've also got Tassie devils and dingoes and emus. We've got the penguins that you can see being fed. We've got an excellent farm area with a beautiful farm show that's also very popular. So lots and lots of fun. We're all about the interactive experience here. So lots of close interaction, feeding the animals, getting some really great photos. We go out of our way to make sure that our visitors have an amazing day at the park. It is the perfect day out. We're only half an hour out of the city. Come and enjoy the day with us.
Coming to Mandurah is an amazing experience. It's a place that's got a completely different feeling to Perth, but it's so close to Perth. It's only an hour out of the city. But you come here and you've got these huge expanses of water, the wild dolphins, the pelicans, the ospreys. You can sit and watch dolphins playing while you have your cappuccino. Where else can you do that? When you come down to Mandurah, you can't help but be relaxed by the nature around you. And we want to continue that theme on our boat. So we take you out on our lovely boat and we'll show you the dolphins. We've got real experts. We really love the place that we're in. You'll see things that you might never have seen before. So it's a real family fun hour on the water. really proud of Mandurah as a place. We're really proud of its wildlife. We're really proud of having a community that really loves the place. And we hope that we can show our visitors the best of that. I love people's reaction when they see dolphins for the first time. They can almost be crying. It's amazing seeing people's joy and the interest levels you spark in what is so wonderful about Mandurah.
I'm very passionate about the Swan Valley. It's just a great environment. It's a bit like the Napa Valley of Perth. We literally are half an hour from the GPO. The valley is Perth's neighbourhood backyard. It's unique. Only Perth and Vienna actually have vineyards in the city limits, and we actually are in the midpoint of the city these days. So the city is actually growing around us, and we tend to take it for granted, but you've got this great agricultural area of vines and vineyards and chocolate factories, distilleries, etc., literally in the metropolitan area. Oakova is very much a family-friendly venue, and you have so many things to do. You can enjoy yourself, a glass of wine under the trees, have a fantastic meal, browse the gourmet shop, go out on a paddle boat. So you actually can even fish in the lake. And if you catch a fish, you can keep it. You've got this in your backyard. We're only half an hour from most places of Perth. Come and enjoy it.
Rottnest Island is a quintessential West Australian getaway. We're located off the coast of Perth. You can get here by ferry or by plane. It's about a 30-minute journey. You can relax on the beaches, you can get active with your bicycle, you can visit out towards the West End where you might spot some whales, and we have a colony of seals out there. We have so many beaches you'll lose count. They're all beautiful, and we are well known for our quokkas. We have lots of friendly tour operators on the island who can take you out snorkeling and kayaking and on boat tours. We have about 300 self-contained accommodation units that you can stay in. Rottnest Island is the perfect Perth getaway. Come get a quokka selfie, cycle the island and enjoy a meal at one of the many restaurants. It's the perfect holiday for your family and friends.
Perth City is a beautiful place. It's got natural environment all around it with the Swan River and Kings Park. It's easy to explore. It's full of interesting places and interesting stories. There's been enormous infrastructure developments like Elizabeth Quay and railway stations being put underground and redeveloped museums, great places to eat and drink and to socialise. We have a large variety of walking tours, and they cover history and food and beverage and culture and art. We could have a fromage tour. That's a nice way to go and visit a few restaurants with a bit of food and drink along the way, or even explore some interesting places in the city for street art. Many of our clients are from Perth, and after a tour they all unanimously agree that they had underappreciated how beautiful the city was, and they can't wait to spend more time here. What people discover on our walking tours are the stories that aren't present at street level. All of our guides are local. They've spent most of their lives here in Perth. They're passionate and knowledgeable, great personalities and excellent storytellers. You should definitely join a 2 Feet and a Heartbeat tour. We have a theme of a tour for everybody. Come and join us one day.
In the Pilbara, we have a lot of areas that are good for photographing, and especially our gorges. The colours that you see around, you can't see anywhere else, so that's what makes it so good. My people have lived here for over 50,000 years. The Burrup is home to many songlines. A lot of the stories that you do hear about in other parts of Australia originated on the Burrup, from Murujuga, and that is why there's so much rock art on that area. Whenever I go out on tours, I give people the opportunity to experience bush tucker and bush medicines, and then they can go out and try these things for themselves. When I go out on country, it brings me to a peaceful sort of feeling, and going out on country makes my heart feel good. My name is Clinton Walker, and this is my epic Pilbara.
Hi, this is Murray and Sonia, and we're Live Ningaloo. We're whale shark operators in Exmouth on Australia's Coral Coast, and this is our backyard, the World Heritage listed Ningaloo Reef. It's really common for us to get multiple encounters with different types of wildlife inside the lagoon, outside the outer reef, and something will happen, you just don't necessarily know what it's going to be. It leaves people feeling like Christmas Day, and you don't often get that when you're an adult. It's nice to have an adventure and walk away with that memory that you're never ever going to forget, and it'll stick with you. It's the stories you pass on to your children. Thanks for listening to our story. We can't wait to welcome you to our backyard, the magical Ningaloo Reef at the top end of Coral Coast Highway.
I'm Brad Norman. I've been a marine biologist since 1989. I've always loved the ocean and I've always loved sharks. And whale sharks are such a cryptic species and one that we know so little about, and they're threatened. And so to be able to work on this species and really help with their long-term conservation is something I really enjoy. Every year we're learning more and more. But where do the whale sharks go when they're not at Ningaloo? And where have they come from before they get here? This is one of the mysteries. And satellite tagging, and especially the new design that we're using, is actually having success. And hopefully, in the near future, we'll be able to solve one of the greatest mysteries of the biggest fish in the sea.
The Kimberley is one of the last true wildernesses, not just in Australia, but on the planet. My name's Ollie. I work for the True North, which is a luxury adventure cruise ship that operates out of Western Australia. We've been adventuring and exploring up that coastline for over 30 years, and we've got exceptional local knowledge of the area. The 10-night Kimberley Waterfalls adventure is my personal favourite. You get to see the horizontal falls, the Prince Regent River, you get to go to Raft Point, see Montgomery Reef. You also get to see the jewel in the crown, as we refer to it, which is the King George Falls, which looks absolutely spectacular. The things I love the most about the Kimberley are the grandeur, just the epicness of the landscapes. It's a bucket list adventure holiday, a life-changing experience.
My name is Capes. I'm from my company called Woolagorinyinda Eco-Cultural Adventures, and we are based in a place that we call Gudadaguda, also known as the Shark Bay World Heritage Area in Western Australia. My job through tourism is to introduce our guests to our backyard. We want to show people this country from the inside, not from the outside. Because whilst this place looks beautiful and spectacular, in our Aboriginal culture we say it's not what nature looks like, it's actually what nature feels like. This is the place where the desert meets the ocean, and we want you guys to come and join us so you can feel the energy of Gudadaguda, just like we do.
I'm down in Esperance on the southern coast of Western Australia, which is just a short flight from Perth, and I'm meeting up with local photographer Dan Paris.
Rich, how are you, mate?
He's going to be taking me out on a bit of a road trip to look at the dramatic coastline and some of the whitest beaches they have in Australia. Hopefully, I'll be picking up a few photography tips along the way.
Going on a road trip. This is what we call tourist loop, so it's a sensational drive, it really is. For a photographer, it's just endless. There's subjects everywhere. The landscape just keeps evolving and changing. I love it. It's kind of got romance about it, hasn't it? I mean, you're not often sharing a beach if you don't want to. Culture here is to go camping, and all through my childhood, that's what we did. And you know, I'm introducing that to my children now as well. And all those sorts of hands-on skills, which in essence, what they do is they get you up very close and personal with your environment. Oh my God, finally. Oh, this is amazing. That is a spectacular view, isn't it? Oh.
So can anyone drive on the beach down there?
Oh yeah, it's easy. I mean, it's rock hard, it's really, really easy. The further you go, there's beaches you can choose that are more challenging.
Yeah.
It just comes down to letting your tyres down, putting it in low range, and
that's good, isn't it? It's just a bit of adventure driving.
it is. So here she is, mate. This is Lucky Bay. The Lucky Bay. I've travelled most of Australia. This is indeed one of the favourite spots for me to photograph. It's beautiful wherever you point the camera, but I mean, you can know all the technical side, that's great too, but changing your perspective.
Okay.
Instead of shooting at 5'8", which, you know, or 10 or whatever your height is, in your case, 6'7". I mean, that looks great still, but get down low, get up high, jump on your roof rack. And I think in this case, see how the wave creates this, the broken wave creates this little leading line?
Yeah.
If I get down low on that, comes up all right. Got the beautiful white sand.
I've never seen sand this white, actually, I must admit.
It's incredible, isn't it? Actually, it's hard to look at it without sunglasses.
I know.
It's so clean. Can you see how there's these really lovely layers? There's like the white sand, there's the blue ocean, and it's different hues.
Different levels.
Even the lines of the white waves breaking and in the blue sky. There's all these beautiful layers.
It is layers, isn't it? And contrasting really good colours as well all the way through.
Yeah, they all marry together really well. So what I was thinking, if I can zoom in and take just a snapshot, a section of that, it might be a nice little abstract image.
Nice.
The thing about this kind of photography is you got to sit, you got to watch, you got to observe. But if we can get out a bit deeper and get one of these waves breaking, two of them. It takes a while, trial and error. Beautiful, isn't it?
That's amazing. This is where we're camping.
This is it, 50 metres to the beach. This looks like, for abalone, the perfect ground. It's a local delicacy, and I think you really like it.
So here we go, hunting for abalones for dinner.
They love the shallows, the roe. We're getting the little black ones. There's green and brown as well, but the little roe are the sweet ones. Yeah, look at that.
Oh, wow.
See, amazing colour, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, we're allowed 20 for the day, and
we're not too far off, are we?
I think we're pretty much spot on. I mean, some of these, they're fantastic size too, really healthy. They've been tenderised, they've been sliced.
There we go, stick them in, Dan. Fresh, straight from the rocks.
I came up with this little recipe with what was left in my camping box. I had some oyster sauce, I had some flour, some cracked pepper, put it all together. I think these are just about right, Rich.
Yep, great.
I'll tell you what, that's hot, but try that.
Oh, thanks.
What do you think?
That's really nice. I'm down here in Esperance on the southern coast of Western Australia, and I'm heading to Lucky Bay to meet up with Doc Reynolds, who's a senior Aboriginal custodian of the area. And I'm meeting up with him at probably one of the best located coffee vans I've ever seen. Yeah, he must be Doc.
Yeah, Rich, best
Hello,
to you.
Rich.
Here you go, mate. Welcome to Lucky Bay, mate.
Thank you very much. So this is your van?
Yeah, this is our van here, mate. The family run. It's between myself, my wife, and my two daughters, and we set it
nice.
up here to accommodate people coming out into a remote, beautiful location.
Yeah.
Where they can enjoy a nice coffee. When I also share some of the bush food that I actually collect and hunt and gather around here, which I'll share with you a little later.
Excellent.
Being a senior cultural custodian to this area, my people have basically lived along the coastal strip.
Right, okay.
And we hunted and gathered. If you took me inland, I might as well stand next to you because I wouldn't know much about it. What I've got at the moment is some nice fish that I caught this morning. We're going to go foraging so that we can have a cook up and a feast up later on today. Coming into a nymph plantation or a bush grape. You eat it just straight off the bush.
That's quite a unique flavour actually, isn't it?
It has that really plummy sediments as well. And you can actually use them in salads. You can also have it as a sweet, like if you have an ice cream. This plant here, the native coastal rosemary, is basically used on all of our native cultural foods that we have along here in saltwater country. Whether it's fish or kangaroo, it was used just to enhance the flavour.
I don't think that smells much like rosemary back home actually. It's a lot more citrusy.
The reason why it's citrusy and has that very thing, it's very moist.
Right.
And then when you get up into the other plants, and when you go inland, you get the other very same species, but it's an inland, but the flavour is much stronger. We're going to now collect some paper bark that we need to start cooking the fish up. And what we're going to do here is look along for a nice strip, and we've got to do it so that we don't damage the trees. So the main thing about this here is that when you cook, even though it's paper bark, it does not burn. So when we're cooking it, you can put it on a hot coal, hot flame, it'll scorch it, but it won't actually harm what you've got inside. You stick your knife in.
Wow.
Now,
sap. Can you drink that?
Have a drink. Coming out, but this one will be a little bit salty because the lake's been very dry.
Right.
Right. So what to do is get all that down over there.
A bit there.
So now what you've got here now, Rich, you've got a nice bit of bark. You can see it's moist. So what we do, we just peel that layer off. So what actually happens, then you've got that nice little thin layer there. Because that's so waterproof, it just naturally keeps all the juices of the fish in there.
Oh, nice.
It pushes the flavours of the native herbs through there, and of course the flavours coming out of the paper bark also goes through it. Well, Rich, now that we've collected everything, what we're going to do now is going to have to cook it up.
Yeah.
We just put a little bit of rosemary on this side, get the fish, put it inside just below the head over there.
Yeah.
Now we're going to need a little bit of rosemary.
Yeah, sure.
So you just get a little bit of rosemary, put it on this side, and all we do now is just fold it over, and all you do is just put a stick through this side here. You don't have to make it too fancy. You should just put it in like that.
Yeah.
You don't have to cook it very long, in a sense about cooking it, making sure that you're getting all the right flavours coming out. All we do is open it up. We can actually see it's nice and soft here now. So that now is now ready to eat. So what we basically do, we just pull it off the barbie. Just get a stick, a little fork. So we get it off. Get our plate, okay, that we got here, because that's going to be a little bit warm if we pull it off. So we just pull it onto our plate. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Just peel it off.
With my forks. That is delicious, actually.
It is. It's a very simple way of cooking.
Would you pass traditional ways of cooking down to your grandkids then and stuff for them to tell their grandkids?
The last time I did this, I had my grandson. As the sun sets on my life and my grandson's life just starts to dawn, I am the conduit between my granddad to my grandson. And that's how we've been doing it, and that's how we'll continue to do it, because our culture is that strong and it's embedded in us that we have to do it.
There's nothing like it, is there? No.
There's nothing like the sunrise, that first wave of the day.
The trip along the coastline.
It's right across the bay.
There's nothing like this ancient place.
The sunset from a camel.
This organism.
This fiddle ball. Oh, this dark-billed mammal.
Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Da da da. There's nothing like the people here.
Or here. Or here. Or there.
My mate's up here.
My friend's down there.
There's nothing like this bear.
That's not a bear.
There's nothing like this giant shrub.
Here's your up.
This bird.
There's nothing like these furry things that bounce around in herds.
There's nothing like Australia. There's nothing like Australia.
There's nothing like
This wondrous land from Darwin to Mount Strait.
There's nothing like the people here where everyone's your mate.
There's nothing like Australia.
There's nothing like Australia.
There's nothing like Australia.
There's nothing like Australia.